Mum, what's porn? So I had to explain.
I want to know this answer. Go on,
Yes,
what did you say?
So tell us, word for word.
Do you know what? I said porn is people having sex and it's filmed and it's for people's entertainment. And I said, but I just want you to know that it's not really real.
Yeah, they're acting.
And I said, I just want you to know that when you touch a girl and she starts making these noises, doesn't happen that way. So I was like, you need to work harder.
Shh, don't tell Mum.
Hello and welcome to Don't Tell Mum.
My name's Barney.
And I'm Jamie.
And this is the second most listened to parenting podcast in
Zimbabwe.
Why? Why, Jamie? Why?
I have no idea.
Why
Can anyone
is it?
Tell us. Somebody Google it, please.
Zimbabwe, hey?
Yeah.
We're live at the podcast show.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen,
2024.
come over and listen. We're trying to make parenting fun, guys. This is what we're trying to do. Take the seriousness out of it because it gets a little bit intense time to time, doesn't it?
It does indeed. I mean, we're no experts in parenting, but what we try and cover here on this podcast is basically everything in between. We lay it all on the table, you know, explosive nappies and all, Jamie.
I know, and relationships as well. It's not just about kids and family or parenting. It's about relationships. And God, does he really annoy me at the moment? Oh my God.
Cheers. Well, we've been together for 7 years, if you can't already tell. But normally we kick things off with a very fun segment.
Wait, we
don't
missed the best part.
What?
We're not married. 7 years. He hasn't proposed. It's an issue, guys. Please, can we all say propose?
It's not an issue. It's not an issue
It is
because
an issue.
it's a non-issue. It's a non-starter. But we typically kick things off on most of our episodes with what's new with Rocket. Rocket is the name of our 2-year-old son. We have lots of fun with him. If any of you, are on TikTok or have seen any silly videos of one of us maybe being silly with him, what's new with Rocket, Jamie? Tell us.
Well, he just realised that I am not a man. That was the first thing this morning. He was
okay.
like, Mummy, you have no willy. And I was like, how do I take this conversation right now? Because, it's way too soon. Way too soon. He's not even 3. And we're having that conversation.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to go with the fact that he's just kind of found the word no. Everything is no. No, mummy. No, daddy. No, get away from me. He actually pushed you this morning and said, get away from me. Leave me alone.
No, he does that all the time. But I think it's because I'm the annoying one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obvious.
Oh, please. That's so mean.
Come on.
But yeah, what is new with Rocket? He is on a whole journey with his adulthood.
Toddlerness.
Yeah.
Adulthood.
No, he's like, what do they call it? A teenager?
I mean, a teenager.
Teenager.
There you go. We clocked it.
I'm excited for our guest today.
I am too. But before we get to that, we've got a couple of other things we need to chat about. We obviously have a lot of segments on this podcast that we'll get into with our very, very special guest, I promise you. But first off, one thing that we haven't done on our podcast for quite a while is talk about the things we've been watching. What have you been watching or falling asleep to on the sofa lately, Jamie?
Well, I didn't fall asleep to
Clarkson's Farm?
No,
Wrexham FC?
Yeah.
Wrexham! It's because you fancy Ryan Reynolds. You don't watch it for the football.
The most delicious thing. People say I look like Blake Lively.
Oh my...
They do.
People say I look like Blake... What?
They don't say you look like Ryan Reynolds.
Who's ever said to you that you look like Blake Lively?
A lot of
Tell
people.
me. A lot of people.
Yeah.
Just people.
Okay, but I have to say, one of the best shows right now, and if you haven't seen it, you've been living under a rock. Baby Reindeer.
Oh
Who's
my
seen
God.
that?
Baby reindeer?
Yeah.
Baby reindeer? You're my wee reindeer?
Did you see
It's terrifying.
Piers Morgan?
I did. The Piers Morgan interview, it was strange because she embodied, I tell you what, first thing first, the lady who played the main character, Martha, has to be one of the best actresses I've ever seen in my life.
Give her an Oscar.
Absolutely. I mean, they don't give Oscars for TV.
Yeah,
no,
I
they
thought
don't.
They didn't do that.
Maybe a BAFTA or an Emmy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. We also watch Wrexham. That's great. Clarkson's Farm has been great. Season 3, the kind of dialogue and the split that he's done with Caleb of trying to actually make it a competition, an internal competition. But then what does it open up for season 4? What would you have them do?
But to be honest, I think it's definitely tapped into the more emotional side because it hasn't had that in the last 2 seasons.
The pigs.
The pigs.
The pigs.
What?
Oh, the pigs.
I can't believe they actually showed that on TV. I was like, people are going to come for them in the comments. Karens in the comments, we call them.
We do. We're definitely going to get to that at some point. And that some point is now. We would love to introduce our incredible special guest that we have on today's episode of Don't Tell Mum. Jamie, do you want to kick things off?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, can we all give it up for Louise Boyce?
That's right. Woo!
Hello.
Hi.
Mama's still got it. For all of you who are wondering where you can find her, Mama's still got it.
I mean, I have to say,
Yeah.
you know, Sunday Times, best-selling author of Mama's Still Got It, mother of 3.
Yes.
And
Yes,
your
I'm
husband
exhausted.
has started entering into this world of the influencer social media culture, right?
Yeah, well, I like to play him in my videos. I mean,
And
bless
give us an
him.
example. Go on, how do you play him?
Really?
Jamie told me
the
about
poor
this
guy.
morning.
I've basically, he's just evolved into a character that just doesn't talk, he just grunts. There's a lot of like, and I was actually filming a sketch yesterday, and I was filming him, and he kind of walked past me, and he was like, why? And I was like, babe, it's fine, I love you, it's fine.
But how does he find it? Does it ever cause arguments in the relationship?
No, it doesn't actually. He's very cool in that respect.
Okay.
He's got a great sense of humour, thank God.
Yeah.
Love that.
And no, he doesn't mind, and he will do certain things
Yeah.
that I will give him a look, and then he's like, "You're going to use that, aren't you?" Yes, I am. I mean, he gives me material
Constantly.
all the time.
I love that. I think that one thing that we wanted to kind of cross paths with you almost is that, you know, social media become like, it really like absorb a lot of your time. Do you allocate yourself time daily to kind of come up with these skits and to do stuff, or do you just do it on the fly? Because you've got 3 kids.
I know.
Yeah.
I like to think I've got some kind of routine, but I try, but I don't.
Yeah.
Because there's always something going on. And I have like a book at home, like full of content ideas, and some don't take long to do, and then others are like actual like
All day.
scripted editing. So I do it all myself.
Wow.
And I think maybe I should get someone to like help me edit. But you know, when you like, I know how I want it
You
to
know
be.
what you like,
Yeah,
you know
I
what you
I
do.
like.
It's
Yeah.
hard, isn't it? It's hard
Yeah.
to give creative control over to somebody.
Yeah.
When you've been doing it for such a long time.
Yes.
Let's go way back to the beginning. So did you start as a model? Was this
Yeah,
the
yeah,
beginning of your
Yes.
adulthood
So
life?
I started Mama Still Got It. It was called that because when I first announced I was pregnant with my first child, I was 31, and my then agency were like, "Well,
You're
that's it.
done.
You're
Yeah.
done." It's like, oh my God.
Oh,
okay.
like that whole phone call.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
gets. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, no one wants to be in a situation where you're bringing someone into the world and you have no financial stability, security. And I was a little bit annoyed as well. So I was like, hang on a minute, how come this is happening? And it's not just me, it's lots of women. So, and then it was like the rise of social media. And I realized that being on social media was actually quite important to be seen, to be heard, and to be relevant. So I changed my Instagram account from Louise Boyce to Mum Still Got It, absolutely like cringing in the background, going like, this is so cringy. What am I doing?
Yeah.
I even like text my mates saying, look, I'm going to be like posting more selfies of me.
Just
and
to
like,
let you
don't worry
know.
about it. It's like you're marketing yourself. It's fine. So my Instagram account started off basically me showing that I am still alive and I still can do the job. I've still got it. You know, I'm still here.
Mama's still got it.
Mama's still got it. And then it did work. You know, my account, and it's always been quite funny. I've always put a spin on comedy when it comes to either modeling or motherhood. I'm not a very serious person. So I wanted that to reflect on my page. And so that's where it started from. And it was, you know, if you scroll down to the very, very beginning, there is a lot more of like
Cozy modeling.
Yeah.
makeup,
Been there, been
which
there.
is great. But then COVID hit, and like lots of other people, everything changed, lost the job, and you're at home with your 3 kids and your husband, who's basically a 4th child. So, and you're like, okay, what now?
Don't you nod?
Do you remember the first ever video that you put out?
Yeah, yes, I do. It was me lip syncing to a Stormzy tune called Fussy.
Okay.
Oh
yeah.
my
Yeah.
God.
And I just did that, and everyone loved it. And I was like, what's wrong with you lot? That's really weird. And then I did another one where there was like a transition when like you drop the kids off at the grandparents and then you're like free and stuff. And again, that got a lot of attention. And this was before Reels. It was
So this is all posts or stories.
They
That
were
was it.
videos,
Yeah.
but it was before Instagram had Reels.
It was IGTV time as well. Do you remember when
Yeah.
IGTV
Yes.
came
The
out?
post long form.
I googled that the other day and they stopped that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
3
Yeah.
years ago.
Gonzo.
Yeah, so I joined TikTok and kind of made the videos there on that platform. And on that platform, I had no followers because I just joined. And I was like, I can be a little bit more experimental and have a bit of fun. And then because they did well on TikTok, I was like, I saw what this like on Instagram and kind of moved it over there.
Yeah.
And it did well. So then I was like, I'm just going to continue. And then because of COVID and because I was feeling really anxious about everything, for me, laughter got me through everything.
Sure.
And I thought, if that helps me, maybe I can help other people who are also feeling anxious. Being a mum during lockdown
Not
was
fun.
awful. It was homeschooling. It was awful.
Wow.
And so for me, doing these little skits every day, I'd give myself 5 o'clock every day, I would post something. And it just lifted everything. And then I got lovely messages from other mothers and fathers and carers saying, thank you, I really needed to see that today. I'm not alone. This is great. So, yeah, it
That's
was really
great.
nice.
I
Yeah.
think our introduction to your kind of content was the tiny hands.
Oh my
That was
God.
like our first thing. So you had like viral moments like leading up to that. So this
Yeah.
is, okay, so like our first thing, because people had actually messaged us, because being in that kind of parenting community of content that we've kind of grown into, a lot of people have messaged us, and you sometimes get people say, oh, have you seen this? Someone said, have you seen the woman with the tiny hands?
Oh,
it's so funny. And that was like our first introduction to you. So but you'd actually built like a bit of a following leading into that kind of that type.
So it's funny, the hands, because it was so accidental.
Yeah.
It was never part of my plan. I never thought I'd be known as the girl on Instagram with the little hands. I'm known as with the little hands, to a point where I met someone and they were like, kept looking at my hands. And they were like, your hands are fine. I'm like, no, it's not these
Oh
ones.
my God.
Yeah.
Because it was from a card, wasn't it? When you had the baby, you got it as a gift, right?
Yes.
That is brilliant. And then you probably thought, this is so weird.
Yeah.
Why have I just got hands? But it's like, you need another spare pair of hands.
Yeah, so after my third was born, a friend came around to meet the baby, bottle of Prosecco, card.
Is she asking for
plastic
commission
hands.
right now?
She's trying, yeah. And and when I first got them, I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And just put them in the drawer in the kitchen that everyone has, and they were just there. And then it wasn't until my son, who at the time was 5, did that classic. I don't think you're there yet, but it's
No, not quite.
the whole mummy watch.
Oh no, he does do that. He goes, come see this, come see
Oh,
this.
he goes, I want to show you
Yeah,
something.
I wanna
That's
show you
his
something.
thing.
Right,
Yeah.
you're there, you're there. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And so during lockdown, I'm at home trying to do some work and trying to homeschool. I'm on my laptop, and then my son was like, Mummy, watch. And then did something really
Mundane.
really, really mundane. And then I said to him, I was like, oh, that's quite fun. I'll make that into a video. Can you do it again? And then he was like, no. And so I was like, I want to recreate this, but how can I do it? Thought of the hands and...
Put a little hoodie on.
Actually, the first one, there's no hoodie.
Oh, okay,
It's I'm just in a white top. And I sent the video to my mum before I shot it, and I sent it to my mum, and I was like, what do you think? And she was like, I don't get it. And I was like, oh,
Typical.
my God. Like,
I do the same with Barney.
I know, my
I
mum
said-
doesn't get it either.
Yeah, well, I show you my content, you're like, I don't get it. And it makes me not want to post it.
No,
Oh,
still
come
post it,
on.
because I
Post it.
nearly didn't post because my mum was like, I don't get it. And I was like, really?
Disheartening, isn't it?
She was like, who are you supposed to be? And I'm like, clearly I'm a child. Like, is it that obvious?
Come
But then
on.
my mum can be a bit weird like that sometimes. So then I sent it to my best mate, who was also in the same situation as I was with lockdown and kids. She saw it and she was like, that's made my day. That's hilarious. Post it. And I was like, fine, I'm just gonna go for it. And I honestly, I was not expecting to then kind of do more and then like let the character evolve into Barney and then have like the hoodie and now sell the pink hoodies. Like it's just, it's gone crazy, but it's great. But as I said, I never thought I would be known as the little hands lady.
Are you going to sell like the hands as merchandise? Have you thought about selling the hands?
I think I might do. I think I'm going to do like a Barney bundle where you can
going to
buy
see all everyone's
Bernie
content.
a Barney bundle where you can get like the
Hands,
hoodie, the hands, and the glasses.
Yes, I love that. 'Cause,
I
I mean,
just, yeah.
well, I mean, you skip from that beginning bit to now, like you've already mentioned merchandise and stuff. Obviously, there's merchandise, there's been a book, you're on the
Yeah.
cover of magazines and stuff. Did
Yeah.
you, when you kind of first started getting viral moments, obviously this is before Bernie, but when you started getting a few viral moments, did you end up thinking long term at all? Or were you just going day to day? Some people say to me, like, what's next? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm doing a podcast now. So, I mean, this is what it is.
Literally not a clue what I'm doing. Most of the time, day to day.
Nice.
I don't know.
I like that.
And I'm fine with that. you know, I don't know. I'm just taking it day to day. I'm really pleased that I did the book. I loved the book.
Did you ever see yourself doing a book? Was that something that you'd always had in your dreams?
Yeah, do you know what I did? I did want to do a book. And years ago, I kind of like started writing one and then kind of thought nothing of it. This is obviously before I was...
The social media stuff,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I found it the other day and I was like, oh my God, that's like my first... It was just like a bit of paper.
Oh.
Yeah, so I did always want to write a book. Who knows? I'm very happy to kind of just drift where the wind takes me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think if you try and force certain things as well and don't let things happen naturally,
Yeah.
I think they're a lot less likely to kind of land.
Yeah.
You need to let things kind of, like you said, let the wind take you
Yeah.
where it goes. And we actually have, funnily enough, I want to deep dive a little bit more into your experience on social media, because we have a segment that we do called Karen's in the comments. Because as you know, being a parent on social media,
You get it all.
you get it all. And everyone's an expert. Everyone knows everything about parenting. It's easy.
Yeah.
So when you go onto your social media, if you receive certain comments, how do you handle it? And first and foremost, though, have you got any corkers that you remember off the top of your head?
Do you know what? I've got to say, my followers are awesome. They're great. And I think because my content isn't really serious and it's very playful, I've got to say, touch wood, I don't get a lot of
Negativity.
trolling.
Yeah.
Famous last words.
Having said that.
Having said that, when something goes super, super viral, one of my videos went crazy, and I don't know if you saw it, and it was CCTV footage of me and my sister trying to empty a swimming pool.
Yes, and you both land in it. Yeah, I saw that.
So that's gone viral a few times. And when something goes viral, obviously it's open to anyone and anything. And that's when you can get nasty comments because they don't know me or my page, backstory.
They also don't like the fact that you've gone viral. Like literally people don't like it. And they'll just say something cutting for no reason.
Yeah.
And it's most of the time it's not even to do with the content.
Yeah. And so that so there was some nasty comments then, and I hate to say a lot of them were from men being like, women.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
And,
How did it make you feel? Are you one of those people that are like, "Oh, whatever"?
I am now. I've got to say, I think I've got quite thick skin. I've had to get that from being in the fashion industry in the 90s. Like I've managed to kind of got this fortress around me. But obviously some do hurt. But the one with my sister and me in the swimming pool, it doesn't bother me because it's just, I'm trying to think.
It's quite harmless content that as well. It's just like a silly, it's almost like a you've been framed skit. Do you know what I mean?
Actually, there was something where I honestly can't remember what it was, but there was something where I posted something and then someone commented something negative, like really pointless. And then it's my followers that go, actually, la 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 la, and then
they fight.
And they stick back for me, so I'm sitting back going, okay, guys.
And you're sitting back just like watching it happen. We have that with the nappy changes for sure, don't we? With like people saying things or putting the nappy on wrong. Like you can't even see the nappy. What are you talking about?
I think the worst, like not funniest, I would say, but like some of the things that we've spoken to with other parents. We had Stuart and Francis on the podcast a few months ago,
great.
who are really great.
They're lovely.
Two dads, they're lovely, and they create a lot of content with their little ones. And we asked them a question similar to what we just asked you on the podcast, and they said, I tell you what, I'm never ever making content again that involves a car seat in a car, because you're just met with a tidal wave of straps are too high, his arms can get out, he's not sat in the correct position, and they just got hit with this absolute monsoon of negativity.
Yes, that is actually, I have had something like that, and I was doing a story in the car, so I'm literally looking out the window. My husband's driving. And I'm doing a story like this, and I'm clearly like talking for like a good minute, and I'm not looking at the road. And someone's like, "You should have your eyes on the road." I'm like, "Clearly, I'm not driving." But when you do a story because it's flipped, it looks like you are driving.
Of course.
Then I had to kind of say, "Guys, I'm clearly not driving. I haven't looked at the road for 60 seconds."
You have to explain it like that though, because there's a lot of idiots on the internet. That's what I found on social media.
There are. Also, what I do as well is I kind of, I do this. I did a post, a funny skit on cowpole.
Okay.
And how you give your first child cowpole and then second child cowpole and then the third one comes, you're like, just take it all, I don't care.
Yeah.
But then I kind of put a disclaimer saying, disclaimer,
I don't actually do
Yeah,
that.
I don't actually. This is exaggeration.
Yeah.
So I've already put it there. So if someone
Just
says
in
like
case.
this is against
Abuse
medical
or something,
standards,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
people are like, she's already claimed that she knows.
Yeah.
So I kind of do have to be careful there. I have learnt my lesson that way, and I've also learnt to. My page is not political,
Yeah.
and I've learnt that if I go into politics, I talked about COVID when it was like the peak of COVID. And I actually in the end deleted that post because again, strangers were just arguing with each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what my page is about. My page is escapism, it's
Yeah.
laughter, it's
Fun.
honesty, it's fun. So I just deleted it and I'm like, I'm never going to do that again.
No, you learn your lessons along the way.
Yeah,
And
we
that's the
do.
thing. But we get our inspiration a lot from obviously our children and our kids, which is amazing. And there's a sector we do on this podcast called What's New with Rocket. And now you have 3.
Uh-huh.
And we want to delve into it a little bit to find out what is new with the 3 kids. And also, can I just say, Basil is the best name I've ever had.
Yeah.
Also, it's just
What-
I don't know.
what do people
Sunny
say
as
to
well.
you?
All the names
Do they go,
are so good.
Faulty Towers? Is
Well-
that the one you get?
Well, obviously, my parents' generation do. Like when he was first born, and we were like, this is our son Basil. Obviously, my mum and my dad and Jesse's parents were like, you can't call him that. And then they would be like, Basil. But obviously, none of his friends
Realise.
have ever said that.
Wow. What does he get
Um,
called?
Basil,
Oh, he just gets called Basil.
Basil.
Does he have like a nickname, or is it literally always just been Basil?
just Basil.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, just Basil. Like that.
You wait
it's
till he's
just,
older.
Do
It's
you
gonna be
have
like
a
Big
reason
Baz.
for all the names? Because you've got Basil, Sunny, and Inca.
Yeah.
And they're all individual. They're very different, They have they sound like they're in like the 3 different types of sectors
Yeah.
of names, which
Yeah.
I love about it.
Yeah. Well, Basil came about. I mean, it sounds awful, but we had like that kind of lovely pillow talk chat you have like before you're pregnant and like
Yeah.
when we have kids.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
sure.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then we were sort of rolling off names, and we had this game of like coming up with the worst name possible. So like we were coming up with like placenta if it's
Yeah.
a girl, or biro or something. And I hope if there are any children with placenta and biro out there, I apologise for the names. So then Jessie just went Basil, and I went, I actually really like that. And so that was always there. So when we were pregnant, we always knew if it was a boy, it's going to be Basil, and he was, and it suits him so well.
Yeah.
And then Sunny, Jessie was very much like, if it's a boy, I really want him to be Sunny,
Yeah.
fine. And then Inca was a tricky one for a girl because Jessie didn't, well, neither of us wanted a girl's name with someone that he had snogged or dated. So that ruled out a lot of girls' names.
Oh, go on.
And I
Go on, Jessie.
Go on.
I went to an all-girls school, so
Oh.
you kind of don't want to relate a name to someone at school.
Mm-hmm.
So we were really
Limited with that.
limited.
Yeah.
So we were actually thinking maybe placenta.
Nice.
And then he said Inca, and we both loved it. And then
Okay.
it just so she's Inca, and their names all really suit them. Like Sunny
they?
is very sunny. He's very, he's full of life, and he's so happy. They're all happy, but he's just agreeable.
Yeah.
Nice.
You tell him to
Okay.
put shoes on, he does it. You tell him to eat his food, he does it. Whereas the other two,
They kick off.
are
Oh, mate.
yeah. Basil's he's an old soul. He's a gentleman, and Inca's just
Definitely suits his name then,
Yeah,
doesn't
he really does. He really
Basil
does.
Fontaine,
So
let's
what?
go.
So what's new with the kids?
Yeah,
You got any
what
cool
milestones
stories or any
Have
milestones?
they hit recently?
Well, I mean, I guess with my eldest, who's 12, he's year 7, he's got a phone, so he's definitely grown up
Yeah.
a lot more since primary school. Like the transition from primary to secondary, I really feel that that's quite the transition.
Yeah.
They're walking to school, they've got phones, they're meeting new people. So he's now suddenly more into how his hair looks.
Okay.
And
Style,
he's
right.
asking about sex, which is good. We're
Oh.
talking about it. And, he's more aware of me on social media. His
Okay.
friends follow me, which is great. I mean, he hasn't got he's not worried about me being on social media. He's almost a bit like intrigued more, whereas before he wasn't. And the other day I did a video on like deciphering preteen language.
Yes,
Yeah.
loved it, by the way. Great video.
And I said to him, it was his birthday party with his friends, and they were saying all these words. And I was like, guys, what on earth are you talking about? And we had lunch, and I was like, right, what does this mean? And I wrote it all down. I said, I'm going to make a video on this. Is that all right? And they were like, yeah, it's fine. So that's cool. Like if he was like, I don't want you to do it, I wouldn't. But he's cool with that. And he's starting to notice girls a lot more.
Oh my god,
Like
that's
how-
why you had the sex chat.
Yeah.
He's definitely, and he's really open about lots of things. Like we have great chats. He's very open to talk to me about everything, which I love. I really want him to be that guy that can just feel like he can talk to me about anything, and he is.
Yeah.
Which is great. Sonny is, he's started to lie, actually, quite a bit.
This ray of sunshine that's all warm and hot,
Yeah.
and now he lies to
And
me.
he's really good at it to a point where I'm like, I think you might need to go to acting school.
Oh, okay.
wow.
Like he's really good.
But you act, so that's kind of like, it's like he got it from his mama.
Maybe.
Mama still got it.
She's got it.
Maybe. And Inka, I mean, oh my gosh, she's doing all sorts of stuff. I mean, she's telling the teacher that I'm pregnant and I'm not. So then the teacher's like, congratulations. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's just cake. There's nothing to see here. My youngest Inka is definitely the hardest. She plays with my mind. But she is amazing. And she's just a character. She's hilarious.
And is it weird having two boys and then having a girl? Like, what is the dynamic change? Like, did you have to change some of your parenting ways when you came along?
Oh God,
Really?
yeah. I mean, growing up with my sister used to always take my makeup and my clothes and it used to drive me crazy. And then, obviously when we lived apart, I was like, it's great. It's now happening again with my daughter.
Oh my gosh.
She takes my makeup and then she puts it everywhere. I've spent a fortune trying to clean my carpets with red lipstick.
Oh.
No.
She just takes things.
I did that with Mum. I did that. I got her Dior Chanel
Oh my God.
lipstick and I just went, yeah.
Well, she did the other day. I was suffering from quite a heavy hangover and I could hear her like just kind of like humming to herself. And then I was like, something's up. I know she's doing something. I know she is.
There's
And
too much silence.
Yeah, she's just up to something. And she got a black pen and just started writing on the carpet. Our carpet is beige.
Oh my God, we had that.
Yeah, we had that as well.
Yeah. You met Jamie?
4.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah, okay.
Like, and I'm like, you're 4. You should know better now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, mate, I guess rolling quickly back to that kind of conversation that you're having with Basil at the moment, where this kind of sex conversation, are you allowing kind of like him to have freedom are you laying the groundwork and just being like, look, this is basically what it is, and then allowing him the freedom to kind of go and explore, or are you just waiting to like open the conversation when he comes to you if he has more questions?
Well, he knows what it is. He knows like what happens with sex because he got taught it at school. But he did say to me the other day, "What's porn?"
Dum dum dum.
And I was like,
I don't think I even knew as a female what porn was until I was like 16.
right.
Probably.
I know. Well, these days,
And he's 12.
He's 12.
Yeah.
And it was really sweet. I was like, "Mum, what's porn?" And so I had to explain.
I want to know this answer. Go on,
Yes,
what did you say?
So tell us, word for word, what was that
Mum,
conversation?
what's
Do you know what I actually said? I said porn is people having sex and it's filmed and it's for people's entertainment. And I said, but I just want you to know that it's not really real.
Yeah, they're
And
acting.
I said, I just want you to know that when you touch a girl and she starts making these noises, doesn't happen that way. So I was like, you need to work harder.
I love how graphic you went
You need to
immediately.
work harder.
Yeah, it's like, it's
No,
not
we
as
had
easy
that.
as
We had that
that.
on the Positive Birth. The Jews was like, I literally have to.
Yes. The lady who owns the Positive Birth Company came on the hypnobirthing specialist came on our podcast, and she said that she has a teenager who has a girlfriend and all this kind of stuff is going on. And she said that she wanted to have the sex conversation with him just to be like, you're having protection, da, da, da. And he's like, I know what I'm doing. And she went, you definitely don't. So
You definitely don't. Let me try. You have to like pleasure her too. You know?
yeah, like it's about her as much as it's about you, by the way.
He also said to me, he was like, what's a condom? And we were on the high street and I was like, well, I'll show you. We'll go to Boots and I'll show you.
Oh, nice.
So we went to Boots and then I was
12,
like,
I can't deal with
I know,
it.
this is
but it
so
kind
young
of-
now.
It did kind of backfire because I was like, there they are the condoms, there they are. And then realised it was quite busy and then he clearly looks obviously not old enough to have sex. And all those other people like, you're giving your child condoms. And then I was like, maybe this is a bad idea. And then obviously my son was
That's
so
a scare.
embarrassed. He was like, Mum, let's just get out. And I was like, okay.
And then
But you know, it still embarrasses me now. I remember when somebody was like, "You're not ready to have sex until you can go into a store and buy some condoms," and I'm like, "I'm 36 and I still get nervous about going into a store and buying condoms."
That's
Like,
true.
It never changes.
I used to work at a chemist, and it was so funny seeing the people buy condoms. They'd be like,
so nervous.
and that, please.
You know what my mum did the other day? We were in Boots, and she has her like little Boots card, and she's Canadian, so she's very like crazy and dramatic, over the top. She gets to the counter. She goes, "Do I get a discount on my vagina cream?" And I was like, and
She
I'm
did it
there
on
behind
purpose.
her, and she was like, "Sorry, my daughter gets really embarrassed by this, but you know, when you get to my age, it all dries up down there." I was like, "Oh my god!" So now, Mum, I'm going to say it on this live podcast to embarrass you.
Yeah, very
Great.
good.
Oh man, it's funny because I just envisage you being with Basil and talking to him in the store, and then after all that happens, you go, "Can we go?" If you going to him outside the store and saying, "Do you mind if I use that as a skit?"
I know, actually, I might do. I need his permission.
Very relatable.
But then I
love it.
was, but yeah, that I tried to kind of be like, yeah, that's where they are, and now you know what they are, la 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 la, trying to make it out like I'm not that mother, like trying to force sex upon their
Yeah.
12-year-old. Oh my god.
It definitely, it's about educating them as well, for sure, because the last thing you want is them to get all their information from something like
Yes,
porn.
exactly.
And then, it can all
Yeah.
end in tears. So one thing that we actually tend to do in our like regular episodes as well, we talk about something because on TikTok, as you, I imagine, are fully aware, everyone's algorithm is just so different.
Yeah.
It's totally
Yeah.
sporadic. The videos that get pushed to Jamie are totally different to the ones that get pushed to me. So we have this thing that we discuss, and it's called TikTok turnoffs. So essentially, it's like, what social media icks have you found in the
Yes.
past couple of months? Like any trends or anything in particular, you look at it and you go, "Oh God, shut
Yes.
up."
I cannot
Fill us in.
stand those TikToks where it's like ASMR, but where it's like someone going, "This is your life."
And they're tapping.
Yeah, they're tapping.
I can't bear it.
It's just not
But
a
I
nice
still
sound.
watch it
Oh,
because I love this stuff.
Ah, okay. So you
But
do
it's-
enjoy
but
the
it's-
tapping.
so it's like like a love hate.
I
guess,
hate the
but-
ones where, at the moment, especially, I don't know why they're appearing on my feed. Anyway, of someone who's like, I don't know, like done a video and they're overlapped onto the video and they're just nodding or pointing at the video. And I'm
yes,
like,
that's very
you're not
annoying.
being creative.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
piggybacking someone's
Yes.
video and going like,
Yes, that's very
and
annoying.
nodding and
That
pointing.
happens with a lot of our content now, being like, "No, parenting
Yeah.
wrong, no," and I'm just like, "Oh my god."
Excuse me.
I mean, but
parent correctly.
I'm obsessed
How
with
have you done?
pimple popping. Is that weird?
Pimple popping.
Yeah,
Pimple popping, what's that one?
as in like
Dr.
when
Pimple popping.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
absolutely
I'm weird.
not. No,
Yeah.
I cannot stand that. My best mates love that.
Yeah.
They send videos to each other on our WhatsApp. I'm like, guys, what are you doing?
Ah!
I can't bear it. I can't even. My husband's got a spot on his back, and I can't do it.
Can't you?
No.
Oh, I'd love to get into
No.
that. I love spots.
No,
I just
can't
don't.
bear it.
I also just don't know if I enjoy all of this like YouTuber boxing stuff as well. I know it's kind of like fed towards me probably more because I watch those kinds of sports. I watch the UFC, but then when you see these like creators just start fighting each other, basically, it's become this next step in.
Yeah, I don't get those.
I don't at all.
videos.
Oh, okay. No, they do it. It's all
I'm
about
pleased I
sport.
don't get them because I'd be annoyed if I got those.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to see that. And also, it like upsets me to think that Rocket has grown up in a generation of people that people that instigate. What do they do? I told you about this before when they got to people on the street and they
Oh, and
start
they
getting in their
engage,
face,
yeah.
and you're like,
Oh,
"What are you
yeah.
doing?" And then they film it.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, yeah.
But that's like
Oh.
happy slapping. We've spoken about this before. Do you remember when that was a thing? The happy
Yeah.
slaps. We've gone through it all. But we were saying before we jumped on here, how social media, how do you handle that with an older kid? For all the parents out there that have kids that are above
Yeah.
a certain age, I'm really terrified to get to that age with Rocket, and then he's asking,
Can I have a phone?
Yeah,
Or can I have
a phone?
Instagram?
How do I
Yeah.
deal with that? And we think it will change.
It will. There is already so much noise around this, and so
Yeah.
much change is already in the process.
Mhm.
So I think by the time Rocket is old enough to have a phone or go
Yeah.
to secondary school where you kind of do need one, I think things will be very, very different.
Yeah.
Um,
How are you dealing
Yeah,
with it,
how's it-
Basil?
so Basil has a phone, which I like that he's got a phone. It works well. Like I can track him when he goes to school. We can message each other when I'm away a bit for work, so it's nice. Like we can contact each other. I don't want him on social media, but it's really tricky because all of his friends are, and then he feels like he's missing out. So I'm trying to kind of I let him scroll through my TikTok.
Yeah.
But he's not allowed it on his phone.
Sure.
And to be fair, he's all right with it for now.
Sure.
He's not too fussed.
Yeah.
But all his mates are on it. And like when all his mates hang out,
Yeah.
they make TikToks or they make videos. And
right.
so then Basil wants to see them and wants to share them. So it's tricky. It's a tricky one. And I don't want to,
Yeah.
I think once there are more kind of rules in place, it'll be a lot easier. But for Sonny, who's 8, I think if you kind of implement the rules early on, like kids know they can't get a tattoo, they can't go and buy alcohol,
Yeah, sure.
they can't buy cigarettes.
Yeah.
So if you kind of like implement certain rules as early as possible, then they won't ask for it.
Yeah. I mean, we made that mistake with the iPad. Because like
but
in the middle of the night.
It happens though. I mean,
for it.
every parent has an iPad. You know, it
Yeah.
does happen. You know, when we go on aeroplanes, iPad comes out.
Yeah.
Or you know, when Inca's when she was younger and in a restaurant, kicking off, here have have my phone. Like we've all done it.
Yeah.
And you know, it helps.
Mm-hmm.
It helps when you need it.
Yeah,
And, you
that's
know,
true. It makes our
We
lives
had
easier.
the chat recently actually about, we see a lot of people on social media who are obviously younger and stuff saying, oh, I got on a plane and there was a screaming baby and stuff. And now I just totally sympathize
Oh
as
my
opposed to being that
God.
younger self that wasn't a dad.
Absolutely.
And I'm
No,
like,
I
oh
go
my
and
God, I feel
help.
bad for the baby. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Offer help where you can. It's hard to offer help sometimes without feeling like you're either critiquing them or I
Yeah.
try to be like, look, if you need me to walk them up and down the aisle of the plane,
Absolutely.
totally happy to do
Yeah.
that.
Because
Just-
I've been on the other side of that. We went to Thailand when Basil was 7 months old, and he was screaming and screaming and screaming on a long haul flight. I remember thinking, I don't want to be here. I remember looking at how many hours left till we land. It was like 9 hours, and I was and there was a lady that wasn't
Wow.
sitting far from me. She was. This is in the book actually, and she was just scowling at me, like tutting. I couldn't be more obvious, like so disgusted that
Yeah.
I couldn't keep my baby quiet. And it wasn't a night flight; it was during the day. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't as if everyone was trying to sleep. And I was just like, and I was a first-time mum, and the anxiety that I felt was awful, and I hated every second of it. And yeah, so I kind of got her back.
got her to puke on her.
Well, I kind of just stood near her chair and just farted on her.
That's like you would do.
That is totally something I would do.
No, like you don't know. You know,
Yeah.
you turn your back to someone, and, like get something out of the bolt. And I just fired on her.
That's so good. That's the best comeback you can do as well. And I'd love to see her reaction. I really hope she reacted as well. And like, oh, that's
It was
just
great.
brilliant.
It felt good.
That brings us to on the podcast. We always ask guests, "Do you have a poo story?" I know this sounds
I
ridiculous.
know,
when
we did
say
it with
this.
another guest and they had a
Yeah.
corker. And we were like, wow.
Everyone has a poo story.
I know.
They do in their world.
Plenty
Yeah.
of explosive
I've got so
nappies.
many.
Especially
I've got so many.
because you've had 3 kids.
I
This
mean,
is
I've
3
got one
lots
that
of moves.
includes my husband.
Oh, yes. Jesse, I hope you're watching this one, mate.
Yeah. I mean, the one that includes my husband is quite nice. It's a nice story.
Okay. Oh, that's
It ends
nice.
well.
He didn't poo himself, did he?
He didn't poo himself, but he did block my toilet
Oh.
before we were even dating, and it was so bad that 2 plumbers had to come.
No.
And I was living with my brother, and I was like, "What is this? Like, sort it out." And it's like, "It wasn't me, it was Jessie." And I was like, "Oh, that really hot friend of yours, yes."
Is that how you guys met?
Yeah, pretty much.
So he's your brother's friend.
So my brother went traveling around the world. It's a lovely story. My
Okay.
brother went traveling around the world for a year,
Yeah.
and this is before social media, before mobile phones, like before smartphones.
Okay.
And he bumped into Jessie 5 different times around the world, just randomly.
Wow.
They kept
So
bumping into each
random.
other. And my brother would email home saying, "I keep bumping into this guy. It's really weird." Cut a year later, he came home, moved in with me, and then I met Jessie one night because my brother brought him back from the pub. And I was like, "Oh my God, who is that man? He's amazing." And then my brother was like, "Absolutely no way, never going to happen. I've been traveling with him, hence snogging all the girls."
Oh.
And so we left it. We were like, "Fine, whatever."
Did he fancy you as well?
Yeah.
Did you know?
But we just kind of like,
Didn't want to cross that
maybe
line.
the timing was wrong. I don't know. We were just kind of like, we do fancy each other, but whatever. And then he blocked my toilet. like months later.
He was just staying at yours with your brother. And
I wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
I was away working in New York, and I came home like jet lagged, and there was this massive turd in the toilet, and I was like, "What is that?" And then it was Jesse's.
Oh my
So
gosh.
then Jesse actually messaged me on Facebook, and it was like our first like connection, saying, "I'm really sorry about the poo."
See, it brings everyone together, poo stories.
Yeah,
It does.
doesn't
Poo
it?
stories
Well,
is just
it's
the
like,
one,
you know,
aren't
when
they?
life hands you shit,
Yeah.
you just never know when it could turn into something magical.
Oh,
You have to make lemons with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a nice story. And then you connected because of the poo story. Did he take you on a date after that? How did your brother deal with it?
Brother at first wasn't happy about it at all, not at all.
No.
And now he takes full credit. And Basil's middle name is George, after my brother.
Nice.
Oh, that's so cute.
I mean, speaking of long haul flights, we took Rocket to Bali when he was a little one. It's a
lovely.
20-hour flight, but he couldn't crawl, walk, or anything. So he was a potato,
Yeah.
essentially, on like a little bed that they'd given us on BA. So he was fine, and apart from the odd cry here and there, it was okay.
Yeah.
On our last day, so we'd been there for 3 weeks. We were about to leave. We decided to go to this cafe that we loved, and we'd been there multiple times throughout our stay. And we're sitting in there, we order food, and then, the typical, the prelude to this is the baby chair that they had no harness. So I wedged him into the baby chair with a pillow behind him.
Yep.
And a pillow underneath. So he was basically wedged into the legs, couldn't move. Cool, Bob's your uncle. So then upon, halfway through eating, I go, and I'm like, oh no. So I look at him and we go, okay, let's take the pillows out and lift him up. So I slid the one from behind him off, and it was covered in green poo. And I was like,
Felt
oh my
so
God.
bad. In a
Quickly,
restaurant.
dashed the pillow into the corner of the room. And was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Took him into the bathroom and put him on the floor. And he just started screaming to high heaven. Just didn't want to be changed, didn't want to be touched, covered in poo. And I'm
You're
just
in
trying to
Bali, you
wrestle
have to be
him.
so careful because everything's so dirty. So you're like, you can't
Yeah.
put him on the floor or
We had
anything.
just,
You've got
God,
shit
just
all over
bought him this
you.
new outfit. I just binned it straight away, put it off him, and I just put it in the bin. And was like, I can't handle this outfit right now. And then put him into a new outfit and everything. And as we came out and then paid the check, everyone knew. Just everyone in the whole cafe knew. And the owner was just like, thank you. And just walked off, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
We're never going to go back there again.
No, exactly.
Bali, we
Never
love
go,
Bali.
never go.
It's amazing. It's brilliant. I just worry about going on a long haul flight with
Yeah.
now a toddler that can't sit still,
Yeah.
really kind of screams to high heaven if he really has an issue.
Yeah,
so.
how do parents deal with that, with long haul flights, with
Do you find your kids
iPads.
help each other out?
Yeah, iPads.
Do you find that they help each other out? Like, does Basil help with, Sonny, or help with Inca, and do they kind of look after each other?
He's too busy talking about sex.
That's true. That's true.
Basil's helpful. Yeah, he's helpful. But generally, we set up their iPad so they got downloaded movies on.
Yeah, we do that on YouTube. yeah.
And, so when we get on the plane, it's just like, they're all your favorite movies. And to be fair, they are all at an age now where it is a lot easier to fly with them. Flying with toddlers
yeah.
can
Not
be
the one.
testing.
Okay,
I
I
can
have a
imagine, yeah.
question. 2 or 3, which one is the worst age? Because I've had very mixed signals, and I feel like I can trust you. On
We're
this one.
halfway. We're in between right now. We're at
Yeah.
2.5.
And 2 is hard.
Two's
Yeah,
pretty
so
tough.
I think, it's different for every child.
Of course, yeah.
But if I'm going to go on my youngest, I think 3 was worse. I'm really sorry to say that. But every child's different. Like
Of course, yeah.
for my middle child, 2 was worse. But Inca was. She's
kind
still
of-
tricky. 4's even
Oh,
tricky.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what my
Um,
dad said. It was the terrible 2s, the troublesome 3s, and the fucking 4s.
The
was my
fucking
dad's.
4s,
Yeah, like she's still tricky,
Wow.
and still testing. And I'm like, Jesse and I are like, when does it stop? Like we've done it, we've paid our dues, like it's done. We've done 12 years. When does it go?
Wow. Yeah.
Would you have another one?
No.
You are done. You're
Last
closed for
night-
business.
Last night I had a very vivid dream that I was pregnant, heavily pregnant. And I remember in my dream thinking like, oh my God, I don't know if oh God, this doesn't feel nice. And then when I woke up knowing it was just a dream, I was so happy.
And then you knew. You were like, okay, I'm there.
No, I'm done. I love babies. I love them. I want to cuddle them, and I just adore babies. But I don't want to have another one.
Really?
Sure.
Yeah, I love to hold my friends' babies and give them back.
Yeah. Please take it back.
But no, I think three is enough. Like I feel like if I did have any more, I just wonder if I'd be able to give them all enough time
Yeah.
each. You know, they still need time from me, and it's hard enough with 3 and working full time, and it's, so saying that though, if I was younger, I might do,
Yeah.
but I'm not. So
we have this, we're going through a phase right now almost of like refusal to eat. And I'm sure it's just a phase. But the thing that we're finding difficult, is when we go to pick him up from nursery and they go, I reposted something on my Instagram today that explained this perfectly, but it was, you go to pick them up and they go, okay, so we had like lamb tagine with chickpeas, tender stem broccoli, and something. And he had 2 portions. And I'm like, I can't get him to eat chicken nuggets at home.
Yep.
No,
So
yeah.
I don't understand. Did you have that as well?
yes,
Please
I did a sketch on that actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I did a sketch on it. And like, they've been really good, listening really well, playing, like had a great nap,
Yeah.
ate everything, and then you take them home and it's chaos.
Gremlin.
Yeah.
Like, awful behavior.
Yeah.
Don't eat. It's because they apparently they save all their kind of
Frustrations.
for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Because we are their safe place.
Okay.
And actually, I read something the other day, and it totally made sense. Because we do it too without us realizing. So if you're stressed or you're going through a really, really hard time,
Yeah.
hold it together at work, you hold it together in public, whatever. And then as soon as you're with someone that you feel is your safe space or comfortable with, you'll just go, bleh,
Yeah.
and you'll cry and you'll get it out. And that's exactly what children do. They save it up for us because we're their safe space. And especially
That's
mothers.
quite nice to think of it like that.
It is.
Yeah, but he doesn't eat around me. He does not want to eat around me for some reason. We can't ever figure it out. Yesterday, I was like, right, we're going to go to McDonald's. I'm going to buy a Happy Meal. I'm going to be the best mom. I'm going to get the best mom award. And then I get it for him, and I'm like, okay, pick it. You can pick it on the computer. So he's like choosing everything. He's like, yeah. He gets it, and then he's like, ugh, throws it on the floor. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I think
it never ends.
I think cooking and feeding just for kids is stressful.
Yeah.
But it does get better. It is a phase. So Basil, who's now 12, like we took him to Wagamama's for his 12th birthday party.
Oh.
And he's ordering like, shrimp, squid,
Oh,
pork, and
Dream.
all of these things that you're like, just try it, just lick it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And he's now doing it. He's like, it's delicious. And we're like, I know.
I've been told
Been
you.
trying to
You've
tell
been
you.
teased.
This week is. And Sunny, and I think all kids go through phases of fussy eating, or there's always something. There's
Yeah.
always something that is a phase, and phases pass.
So,
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
wow. So you've done the book. The social media is doing really, really well. We're keeping up to date with everything. You've done magazines.
Yeah.
What's
Amazing.
the future of Mama's Still Got It? How do you see it going? Or
So
is there
I'm still
anything
going
you've got
with
in
the
the
flow.
pipeline? Just
I mean,
floating.
Honestly, I don't know. What do you think I should do?
Oh, mate, I think
Keep those
you're
content
brilliant.
coming because
I
it's
do,
so relatable.
I do love making. I actually really enjoy making the content.
But
I
you're
really
brilliant
do.
in conversation. Like, is there
Yeah.
a podcast? Because you did a podcast
did
at
do
39
one.
weeks.
Yeah,
we saw
I
that.
did, yeah.
But like, would you think of reviving that, or is this just sometimes taking on something
too
quite
much
big?
and it
Yeah,
takes
don't
you
wanna
away
spread
from
yourself
the
too thin.
content. Like, how long does it take you to make one video?
So the one that I did yesterday about brushing teeth, that took me, I'd say, so the filming part's not too bad. It's the editing.
Yeah, it always is.
And then, I mean, usually they take about 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah. And it's a 20-second video or 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing that it takes
Yeah,
that long
it
to
does
do
take a
it.
long
So it's
time.
like I do Days in the Lives. I have a series on called Tantrums to Anthems.
Oh, nice.
From like being a mum to
Yeah.
DJing in the evenings. And it takes me a good like 6 hours to do it all, getting
Yeah.
all the content, putting it on, editing it,
Yeah.
then doing the script on top.
Subtitling.
It's so hard.
Yeah, it is. It is time consuming, but I really do enjoy it.
So is there anything that you would want to maybe dip your toe into and see if it works?
Do you know what? There's been a bit of chat about maybe doing like a live show, as in like a stage show.
Great.
Wow.
But don't know.
I
Who
can
knows?
see you doing that. We'll be there in the audience.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You on?
Great, cool.
Definitely. We'll do the commentary.
Maybe a podcast. I don't know.
You've become a
Honestly,
comedy, haven't you? Like, literally hitting the comedy sector.
I can
feel.
Avenue Q, but with kids. With
Yeah,
little
Avenue
hands.
Q.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But I am busy. I'm busy at the moment, so it's
Cool.
just nice to. I'm just happy. With
It's
what I'm
nice
doing
to be
at the moment,
busy.
To be honest,
Yeah.
yeah, it is nice to be busy.
Are you going to bring out another book?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Never say never.
Never say never.
So where
Mum
can
is
people
still on
find
it,
you?
maybe?
Yeah. Where can people find you on Instagram, TikTok, email, everything?
So it's Mama, just MAMA. Still got it with a _. Same handle over all platforms. So you can find me there.
That's easy.
Amazing.
I
And
love
the
it.
book, Mama's still got it as well. On the
got
shelves.
it.
Sunday Times bestseller, baby. Absolutely incredible. I mean, Louise, you're brilliant. We love watching everything that you do.
Thank you.
And
Thanks
we're
for
so,
having
so
me,
happy
guys.
that you managed to come on a really special day. We're doing this live
Yeah.
from the podcast show. You guys can't see it on camera, but there's people everywhere. So it's actually really, really exciting.
This
that
is my
we've-
first live podcast as well. So
Is it your first live
Yeah.
podcast? Oh, thank you
Nice.
for using us. We
No,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Thanks for having me.
When we found out you could come on the podcast, we were like, yes, because you are such
High
a
fives.
influence for us and our content when we make content all the time. Like, you've been a big inspiration for me, being like, you're making parenting fun, and that's what
thank
we need
you.
more of.
Yeah.
That's kind of our
So thank
USP
you.
is trying to just turn the
Yeah.
boring things every day into fun
Absolutely.
things.
I mean, you have to. You have to. Because
Yeah.
it is, being a parent is hard.
It is.
And it's
Yeah.
tiring and it's boring and it's
Yeah.
mundane. So we have to make it fun.
Yeah.
Indeed. And if you guys want to send us anything or contribute to any of the stuff that we talk about on this podcast, it's itsthebankses@gmail.com. That's it's the Bankses with 2 S's at gmail.com. My name's Barney.
And I'm
This is Jamie. And this is Don't Tell Mum.
Do we have any questions or anything? I don't know if anybody has any questions.
We'll do a very quick Q&A for those of you wondering what we're doing here. Now we're just sat here in silence and we're just getting the questions.
So, how do you find the family dynamic when you have two driven parents? How do you
Okay.
find the family dynamic when you have two driven parents? So, like, when parents are really driven,
Like,
how do you balance it?
I mean, chaotic for one. That's kind of my point of view. But for you, Louise, do you have, your husband like quite on the go as well, as in with his job, or does he kind of leave work at home and come back and it's home
He
time?
works from home
Okay.
pretty much every day, which is lovely and horrendous at the same time.
Yeah.
You're both working from home, eh?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that I don't know if we're both dynamic. I mean, I think I'm the one that's more kind of like full steam ahead and have a list of everything that we need to do. Jesse's very much more like laid back and he's like, what do I need to do?
Goes with the flow, yeah.
That's what you need, though, in a relationship.
I think you do need a
Yeah.
bit of a difference in dynamic. If you're both very headstrong,
Yeah.
full steam ahead, it might be a bit too much.
Yeah, or competitive.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And how
Jamie.
do you approach your toddler tantrums?
Make a video.
If you do this, you'll be on my Instagram tomorrow.
Yeah.
Again, I think I've learned that when a kid's having a tantrum, they can't really hear you. So if the best thing to do is for the parent to be calm, come down to their level and just give them a hug
Yeah.
and just wait for them to calm down. Which is really hard sometimes if you're stressed yourself or you need to like get out the supermarket, whatever. But in my experience, when one of my children's having a tantrum, and obviously they've all done it, when me or Jessie kind of just completely chill out, get down to their level, just kind of say, come in for a hug, it chills them out straight away.
Yeah.
And then they can talk to you what's going on. Whereas if you're like, well, you stop, just
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't help because there's actually some science behind it. Their brain, when they're having a tantrum, they can't hear you. If you're shouting, they can't hear. All they're seeing is danger, and they just want to feel comfort, and that they're safe.
Yeah.
So that is how I deal with tantrums now.
It's so funny because they actually like have these tantrums about the most ridiculous things, like you gave them the wrong spoon. You know what I mean? And it's just like,
Yeah, there's a lot of like, and also I would say screaming into a pillow does help. Yeah, because there are moments where the wrong spoon, or I don't want to wear these shoes, or just there are so many things that kids can protest about, and you kind of do have to pick your battles.
Yeah.
Because if
Pick
you
your
tell them
battles.
off about every single thing, you'll be telling them off every single, like all the time. So
Yeah.
pick your battles and just breathe through it and be patient because it is testing.
Yeah.
Rocket does a thing, doesn't he, where he cries because he wants something, and so you'll go, okay, cool, I'll go find it. When I found it, got it for him, he's already past the point of being
He'll
calmed
throw
down.
it.
So you
Yeah.
give it to him, and he just throws it,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it is. And so and
Or
then he
he
goes, I want it
abuses
back, I want it
himself.
back. And so I
Yeah.
give it back, and he throws it again. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I know what you're doing.
He throws himself on the floor and bangs his head sometimes
He
because
did.
he doesn't
He
get
doesn't
the.
do that as much, but he
No,
did when he
he
was
did
little.
for a
And that
while.
was really terrifying.
He'd lift his head up and bang it, and I'd be like,
Deliberately.
Oh my God, my sister used to hold her breath until she fainted.
Oh no,
And
that's terrifying.
Yeah, she used to hold her breath
oh my god.
until she would faint.
What did your mum do?
Well, at first she was like, "Oh my God, what's going
Hospital.
on?" And then after a few times, she was like, "Faint, do me a favor."
Do me a favour.
And on that note, guys,
Don't
let's
do that.
leave
Don't
it
do
there.
that.
We'll
That's bad
leave it
advice.
there. That's
Don't do
brilliant.
that.
Thank you so much for listening to this latest episode of Don't Tell Mum. Louise Boyce has been
amazing.
fantastic. Mum has still got it. Go find her on Instagram and across all social platforms. Jamie, I love you.
Yeah, I love you too.
See
Oh,
you later.
guys, I love you too.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Don't tell Mom. Bye-bye.